All right, we want to go back out to Texas right now and talk to Weather Channel meteorologist Mike Seidel from Dallas. And Mike, it looks like we've got a pretty healthy line of storms coming in later on this evening.
Yeah, we expect those in here between 10 and 11 p.m. It's not going to last very long. We're thinking the window of opportunity for lightning, thunder, straight line wind damage, and maybe a tornado or two is between about 10 p.m. and about 3 in the morning. So this will long be gone before rush hour tomorrow morning. In fact, by rush hour tomorrow evening, this mesoscale convective system, this blob of thunderstorms, will have made it all the way over to Charleston, South Carolina. That's how fast it's moving. Looking at the beautiful Dallas skyline over the Trinity River and the bridge, and there's Old Glory. That's a south wind at about 15 to 18 miles an hour, bringing up the humidity from the Gulf of Mexico. But I have to say, it's not that uncomfortable out here. We hit 81 today, which is a little bit above average, but the dew point has creeped up, but it's still comfortable. It's in the low 60s, 62 as of 7 p.m. over at DFW. As Carl mentioned, the Storm Prediction Center is watching this area, and they will, very likely, 80% chance are saying, issue a tornado watch sometime this hour between now and 8 Central, 9 Eastern for North Texas. That would include Dallas-Fort Worth down to Waco. As the instability increases, a better chance of some spin and some tornadoes, along with a continued threat of straight-line wind damage. Let's put it in motion. We'll show you the storms now, radar forecast going through the overnight hours. Storms again getting in here around 10. We think there may be some supercells discrete by themselves out ahead of the line. Those will have the higher chance of spinning up into a tornado. But then the line just moves on through, and by 3 in the morning, we're done with this. Tomorrow, Carl, we're going to head to 89. If we get there, that'll tie the record for tomorrow, and then much cooler behind that front as that blows through here in North Texas. I guess we could kind of call it a blue norther, and much cooler, much more comfortable weather for the end of the week. But lights out potentially as we get into the late evening and early overnight hours here in North Texas. We're going to be here until 11 o'clock Central Time. Carl?
And Mike, our severe weather is underway now across parts of the metro area, the extended parts of the. Well, our Mike Seidel is stationed in Dallas now, getting ready for the storms to come in. And Mike, we've got basically everything on the table and a brand new watch.
Yeah, tornado watch here for the Metroplex, as you mentioned, until 2 a.m. We discussed earlier the window of opportunity was until about 2 or 3 in the morning, so that times out perfectly. It goes south of here, but not as far south as Waco. On the current radar, you can see there are a couple showers, one in southern Dallas County, getting to southern Dallas County, another one in the northern part of the county near Garland. Neither of these are severe. They just popped up a quick shot of rain and they move on. It's all the action north and west of what fills in ahead of the boundary in the next few hours. We're expecting the line to move into the Dallas-Fort Worth immediate metro area in a couple of hours and get into where we're standing here at the Trinity River sometime between about 9 and 10 tonight. And that's when we could expect the straight line wind damage aspect, small hail, and even a tornado spin up. Not out of the question. The tornado condition index right now here in Dallas is 3. It's not incredibly high, but it's not 0. And as we always say, it only takes 1. You can see on the future radar that everything comes in here and gets out of here very, very quickly. So by 3 or 4 in the morning, it's gone. There will not be any rain for the morning rush hour tomorrow morning. In fact, this system will be all the way to the Carolina beaches by dinner time tomorrow night. That's how fast it's moving. So, Carl, we'll keep an eye on the sky. We're looking west. We're also looking back towards the Big D and the skyline. We've seen a couple of rain shafts, light rain showers over there, but other than that, nothing imminent here. It's going to be a while. It's going to be another hour or two before we're really concerned about the dangerous storms here in downtown Dallas.
Mike, you probably noticed this. I was just looking at some of our modeling, and even though the winds aloft at about a mile up at 850, as we say, are not real strong, they are coming out of a very different direction as compared to the surface winds.
Yeah, that's why we're concerned about tornadoes, but we don't have as much directional shear, and it's not as strong as the past 2 weeks.
Yes.
So I would be very surprised if we have the absolute number of tornadoes between tonight, Tuesday, and Wednesday that we had last week and the week before. I'm not lowering the threat. I'm just saying that this is going to be more of a wind threat, I think, certainly tomorrow and Wednesday, with the next front coming in on Wednesday, and not as much a tornado threat. We'll see how it all shakes out, but always be prepared for a tornado and have your safe place in mind where you can head to, as we saw last week and the week before. Many folks, they saved their lives, likely saved their lives, or saved from getting hurt, injured from tornadoes by getting into an interior room or the bathroom as soon as they heard that warning.
Yeah, the strength of those low-level winds certainly a very important part of what we're watching. Well, we want to go out to Mike Seidel right now. He's been reporting on the storm for us in Dallas. And Mike, I said you said you just got a shower coming through there, and but the main event is going to be later tonight.
Yeah, indeed. We'll time it out. Fort Worth and areas on the western side of the Metroplex, 9 to 10 it hits. And it continues to rain after that. And over here in Dallas, we're thinking in the 10 p.m. hour. Certainly by 11 o'clock, we'll be in the thick of it. We do have the tornado watch till 2 a.m. I wanted to show you the shower we just had. This thing came right at us. We saw it coming. And boy, this thing was racing, much like this convective complex of thunderstorms will do tomorrow. It's going to go by dinner time tomorrow. Just imagine trying to drive that fast. I don't think you can really drive that fast. Let me show you the storm right now. Austin Anderson will come on in and we'll get this rolling, get an idea of what it looked like here. This is just about 5 or 6 minutes ago. It only lasted for a couple of minutes. Really hard rain. You can see the gusty winds in front of the headlights. I think we gusted about 30, maybe 35 miles an hour, but it was really quick. It was like one of those showers that comes off the ocean ahead of a tropical system, and the winds pick up, and then the rain ends and the winds die down. So we're back now to a steady wind of about 15, 18 miles an hour from the south. So there you go. That's the shower, and that's it so far. But we've got a lot more coming and much more dangerous weather in store in the next 3 to 4 hours with that watch in effect till 2. Let me show you the future radar. You'll get an idea of how fast this moves in and moves out. Again, later this evening, next couple of hours, it moves in, hits the Metroplex, and then moves out. So by 3 o'clock in the morning, we're pretty much done with the rainfall. So rush hour tomorrow, no issues. In fact, tomorrow, get this, we're forecasting 89, Carl, and that would tie the record. And it will be not really uncomfortable, and then it's going to be much more comfortable and cooler as we get the next system through here and we cool things down with the northwest wind. Right now, though, the winds are running almost right across the Trinity River, right up the Trinity River, south at about 15 miles an hour. Carl?
Mike, that's a really good-looking bridge behind you there. What is that bridge? What part of town are you in?
We're just on the west side of downtown Dallas. That's the Trinity River. By the way, I've been out here a lot of times over the past 30 years. This is the first time I've actually seen the hiking and biking paths which run along the river's edge, because typically I'm here for flooding, and this is usually all underwater when I'm here, because we're here for the story, for the weather story. So it's interesting to actually see it in person, what kind of options you have for exercising and just getting outdoors and getting some fresh air when the Trinity River is within its banks.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. Appreciate it. And we'll be talking to you shortly.
We are back here in downtown Dallas live, and the tornado watch continues till 2. Severe with thunderstorm warning extended for this part of Dallas County. Into Rockmore County, this goes until 11:30 Central. Lightning and thunder now crashing around us. Heavy rain is knocking on our doorstep, and I'm talking about rainfall rates of 1 to 2 inches an hour. DFW's had just under an inch of rain since just before the top of the hour. So we're talking about 50 minutes. They've had almost an inch of rain. Out in the areas around Denton and Collin County, they've had 2 inches of rain, 2 to 3 inches total. It's still raining out there. They're under a flash flood warning until 2 a.m. There's been water rescues out there. So far, so good on the wind reports. The highest wind gust we've seen is 55 miles an hour at DFW. That is not over concerning as far as creating damage. We last checked, let me get the update. Last check, we had just under 7,000 customers in the state of Texas without power. Let's see if that's probably jumped up a little bit. Yes, up to 9,300. 9,300 from 7,000, about 7,000. Again, that is a drop in the bucket considering that the state has at least about 12.5 million customers, but still, we are seeing some power outages. Nothing like last week because we haven't seen the wind gust of 70 or 75 miles an hour. Rainfall now picking up. It's going to rain very, very hard for an hour or so, but this is a progressive system, and it will move out by 1 or 2 in the morning, and that'll be it. No rain in the morning for the rush hour. Tomorrow, sunny, windy, kind of a hot day. We may hit 89, which would tie a record. So, Carl, it's now bearing down on us here in the Dallas area. There goes another flash of lightning. Some very heavy rain now moving in. and we'll likely have some ponding here, maybe a little bit of urban flash flooding before it moves out in the next 1 to 2 hours.
Yeah, you know, Mike, I've actually never been to Dallas, but from what I understand, it's very similar to Houston in that there's a lot of paved surface, and so that certainly can add to that flash flood threat.
Yeah, exactly. Not as many areas, low intersections under interstates like they do in Houston, but yes, we do have that right down here on 30, 35 of these areas in Dallas where you have the overpasses and you have to go under and it sits kind of low. But you can see the rain now picking up. We're still not getting the wind. Again, we are facing about a 12-story hotel, so that is protecting us from the wind. But the rain is definitely, the intensity of the rain is picking up, and it's going to go very heavy here in just a matter of a couple of minutes. You can already see how it's coming down harder and harder, and this is where we'll get these rainfall rates of 1 to 2 inches an hour. And like I said, we could have some localized flash flooding right here in Dallas County. The warning for this part of Dallas County, they extended it and pushed it into Rockwall County. That goes until 11:30 Central Time. The tornado watch till 2 a.m. These are severe thunderstorm warnings, warned for gusty winds of 60 miles an hour or higher and $quarter to $half sized hail. Feeling more of the wind, I can kind of step out here and pick up a little bit more of the wind as it comes between the hotels, but still getting a lot of protection when you got a building that goes up 12 stories and you get a sense of how the rainfall is picking up. It's going to rain much harder than this here in the next 10 to 15 minutes as the thunder rumbles off to the north and west with these severe storms now rolling right in to downtown Dallas.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. We want to tell you now about a new tornado warning that has been issued south of Fort Worth. And a lot of heavy rain and a lot of lightning with these storms. We want to bring in our Mike Seidel. He has been positioned in Dallas waiting for all this to move in. And there it is, Mike.
Yeah, Carl, very heavy rain now, thunder and lightning. Not a whole lot of wind that we saw down here, even looking in the distance away from the buildings. It's basically a lightning storm with just downpours. In fact, DFW picked up just over an inch of rain in the past hour. So that's the rainfall rate, about 1 inch or so an hour. But if you grab 15 or 20 minutes, you get a much higher rainfall rate. And you can see what's going out here. This is what happens when it rains this hard. So if you're out on the freeways, you've got ponding, and you can skid off the roadway, hydroplane very easily. So you got a lot of standing water here, and until the rainfall rate backs off, this is what we're going to be dealing with here in the Metro Dallas area. The warning goes until 11:30 for this part of Dallas County. It extends a little bit longer as you get farther south and east. And as Carl mentioned, the tornado warning, but that's well south of the downtown Dallas area. So very heavy rain. We'll see if they issue a flash flood warning in this area. We still have that one in Denton and Collin County until 2 a.m. There will be some localized urban flooding here in the Market Square, Market Street area. And other than that, it's the lightning that is the concern. Certainly at this point, the wind threat seems to be over with, and there's still the threat of hail, but we haven't seen any hail where we're sitting or where we're standing here, just a little bit north and west of the immediate downtown district here in Dallas. Carl?
All right, Mike, thank you so much.
Back to Mike Seidel in Dallas, Texas, in the middle of a torrential downpour. Mike?
Yes, Jeff, indeed. That's what we've got here, a tropical downpour, and the temperature has dropped about 12 to 15 degrees. We felt the outflow come through about 20 minutes ago. You can feel that rush of cold air just like you open the refrigerator at home. And temperatures now in the low 60s. We didn't have a whole lot of wind here, at least where we're standing and looking around. Not a big whoosh through and in between these buildings. DFW did report a gust of 55. That's the highest gust we've seen, and that alone is not going to knock out too much power, although last check we had about 9,000 customers in the state of Texas without power, most of those in the counties surrounding Fort Worth and Dallas that had the storms earlier. So very heavy rain coming down, still a fair amount of lightning as everything moves off to the east at about 25 to 30 miles an hour. Now keep in mind the tornado watch is until 2 a.m. We've got another couple of hours of the threat for severe weather, especially south and east of Dallas-Fort Worth as the severe threat moves in that direction. Off to the east, we have that new tornado watch for the Arklatex, and we still have the lightning threat and the straight line wind damage threat. So we're not out of the woods by any means. By about 2 a.m., though, things should ease off, the rainfall back off, and this will be out of the way by about 3 in the morning, Carl. The morning rush hour will be fine, and the flash flooding, by the name flash flooding, that will have receded by that long before we get to rush hour tomorrow morning. Carl, back to you.
All right, Mike, thank you so much. Appreciate your reporting as always. And let's take a look once again.